Now at 9, in Galena, Kansas released new details about a death investigation. Plus, the Missouri Humane Society rescues more than 40 dogs from a home in Neosho. And
as the war in Ukraine rages on, lawmakers in Washington want to know what's happening to all the weapons being shipped overseas. I'm Mark Meredith in Washington. We'll take a closer look coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation released new details about the investigation of remains found yesterday in a field in Galena. Galena police were alerted about the body around 3 p.m. yesterday. They quickly brought in the KBI to help. Authorities say the body is of a man, but it is too badly decomposed to identify at this time. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the cause of death. Authorities investigating the cause of a mobile home fire in the Carthage area last night have a big challenge because there's not much evidence remaining. The fire destroyed the mobile home at 1845 West Mound Street. The fire was reported around 8:30 p.m. The Carthage Fire Chief says there were no occupants and no one was injured. The Jasper County Sheriff's Office is assisting with the investigation. 3 people are receiving treatment for non-life-threatening injuries after a crash on Missouri 171 near the state line. Jasper and Crawford County authorities responded to the wreck after 3 this afternoon. Missouri State Highway Patrol says a car driving west went into the path of a car driving north and one car overturned violently. MedFlight and Met's ambulance transported those injured to local hospitals. A dump truck spilled its load of lime in a crash this morning, forcing authorities to close part of a highway in Newton County. Investigators say an SUV driving east on Norway Road failed to yield to the truck driving south on State Route H. The truck went off the road, overcorrected, then overturned. Authorities blocked both lanes of Route H while crews cleaned up the mess. Both drivers had non-life-threatening injuries. The Missouri Humane Society today rescued 41 dogs from a Newton County home. KOAM Shagun Bomdali found out what started as helping animals in need turned into a challenge for one woman.
Shelby Azuma loves animals, so when she saw dogs in need, she had to take them in.
So the sheriff came, heard that there was something going on, and he wanted to see if he could assist me.
However, the dogs had babies, and it became too much.
I had a stroke, and it affected my heart. And before I moved here from Joplin, I had gotten real bad sick, and my legs had 10-degree burns.
She reached out to the Newton County Sheriff's Department looking for help. They called in the Missouri Humane Society to rescue the 41 dogs.
She basically was overwhelmed. She was not breeding these dogs to sell. They had just gotten out of hand. She was overwhelmed, told us she couldn't take care of the animals anymore and asked for our assistance.
Jennings says the dogs were not maltreated or abused.
Like I said, it was strictly a matter of she had some dogs, they bred, before she knew it, they bred, and all of a sudden she had 40-some animals. It's hard to find a home for an individual, for an individual to find a home for animals like that.
A local vet praises Azuma for asking for help. She says it is dangerous to foster a lot of dogs without proper care.
Dog has coccidia or giardia. It could get passed to the human. So like if you're in the feces or anything like that, if you're not washing your hands and touching that dog and that dog has it, then you can get it.
Azuma is happy that the dogs will go to loving homes.
Well, I'm grateful they came out to take care of my dog.
Reporting in Newton County, Shagun Bamdele, KOM News.
The Missouri Humane Society team took the animals to their headquarters in St. Louis. The dogs will receive medical treatment before being placed in foster homes and adoption centers. Chief Meteorologist Doug Haiti joins us with the first look at the weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a great day for us today. Today was the nicest day of the work week that we are going to see as we start to see some changes. But check this out, 74 started at 43. Normal highs 54. We are actually near a record of 78 degrees. We have pretty much clear skies, a little band of clouds out across northern parts of Oklahoma, and we are going to start to see these clouds increasing for us tomorrow. But temperature is still pretty good. Most of us in that 50 upwards to 60 degree range. As we go through the overnight hours, we'll drop back into lower 40s later on tonight. It was windy. The winds have calmed down. They're going to switch out of the north and a hair cooler for us tomorrow. Still not bad. We drop back to about 46 as we go through the overnight hours. All right, we do have 60s again tomorrow. Thunderstorms Thursday. Rainfall anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. Could have a rain-snow mix. Friday morning, we're going to break it down for you here in just a bit.
All right. With spring season approaching, Joplin Schools wants to remind area residents that community safe rooms will be open at several locations throughout the district. It's in preparation in case of tornado warnings or even tornado sirens are activated. If warnings or sirens happen during school hours, students and staff will receive priority for safe room occupancy.
If we think that there's going to be an imminent tornado warning in the area, we have a procedure that we're able to activate the safe rooms throughout the district.
The district says while all school buildings in the district include safe room locations for students and staff, not all school buildings include community safe rooms. To find a full list of community safe rooms, download the KOAM News app. Testimony in both House and Senate hearings today showing lawmakers are split on U.S. assistance to Ukraine. While some continue to question whether helping Kyiv is in America's best interest, others are pressing for President Biden administration to do more to stop dragging out the conflict. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith has more from Washington, D.C.
More than a year after Russia invaded Ukraine, and Kyiv stands firm. Experts say the more than $100 billion of U.S. assistance has been essential in Ukraine's fight, covering everything from military equipment to humanitarian assistance. But now both House Democrats and Republicans are demanding accountability.
How do we feel right now in time about providing all the assistance we've provided to Ukraine?
There's no evidence that the Ukrainians are diverting it to the black market or some other thing else.
In the Senate's Armed Services Committee, lawmakers gathering information about Ukraine's most recent request for U.S. fighter jets.
Is there any point in our training beginning to train the Ukrainian pilots on F-16s at this point?
I would be training them on everything we've got. Get ahead of the game instead of behind the game.
Concerns about Ukraine now tangled up in Congress over China.
I would say that if they did intervene right now, it would fill a critical gap for the Russians for the next several months.
But with billions already spent and the war ongoing, one key Democrat says voters have concerns.
Why are we spending money? But a lot of constituents ask the question, what's all this got to do with me?
If countries like Russia are allowed to go on the march to swallow up their neighbors, the rule of law will be replaced with the rule of the jungle.
A bipartisan delegation recently visited both Poland and Romania to see firsthand how the U.S. military is tracking the weapons it's providing to Ukraine. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Coming up, trying to end one of the most common food allergies.
Peanut allergies are one of the most common food allergies, but in the future, they may cease to exist. I'm Jackie Abanez with a look at the groundbreaking research that could provide life-saving relief to countless Americans. That's straight ahead.
Kansas City's new international airport is now open. The first flight took off this morning. The $1.5 billion project took 4 years to complete. The airport is now the largest all-glass airport in the U.S., coming in at 1.1 million square feet. The structure has just one terminal and 2 levels. Departures are on the second floor, arrivals are on the first. Nearly 50 eateries, bars, and stores are inside, including 20 local businesses. And U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg visited the airport yesterday to see the new terminal. He was joined by various state leaders and also visited UMKC to highlight a recent University Transportation Center grant. Whether it's crunchy or smooth, peanut butter is delicious, but it can also be deadly. Fox News correspondent Jackie Abanez takes a look at the groundbreaking research looking to provide relief and safety to those with peanut allergies.
Hope could be on the horizon for those suffering from severe peanut allergies. Scientists at Indiana University School of Medicine have created an injection designed to prevent peanut-related anaphylaxis, a potentially deadly allergic reaction that can cause difficulty breathing, shock, and more.
So anaphylaxis is caused by the interactions of an allergen with an antibody called IgE on the surface of immune cells. And when the allergen binds, those cells then release a lot of mediators into the body to cause the anaphylactic reaction. What we developed was an inhibitor that blocks the interaction of peanut allergens with the antibodies that are on the surface of the immune cells.
Peanut allergies are one of the most common food allergies, affecting roughly 1 in 50 kids in the U.S. So far, researchers have only tested their injection on animals, but the results are proving positive.
That inhibitor works for up to 2 weeks once it's injected into one of the test animals.
Officials hope to begin human trials in the next 5 to 10 years.
One of the next steps is to do more detailed toxicology analysis and make sure that it's safe to put into patients. If those look promising, we would then apply for FDA approval to do clinical trials so that we could test for safety and efficacy.
Long-term, researchers also want to develop injections to prevent allergic reactions to things like penicillin. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast and later. Pitt State, Missouri Southern rack up all MIAA basketball honors.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. Plenty of sunshine, a little breezy, but temperatures into the mid-70s during the afternoon. Nice evening. Looks great outside. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. You can check out Jupiter and Venus as they get closer to their conjunction, which is going to be tomorrow night. So they get closer and closer and closer if you look out in the western sky over the next couple nights. All right, look at these temps. Past 36 hours. Near 70 yesterday, well into the 70s today. We should only be topping out mid-50s for this time of the year, and still pretty good. We got about a 10-degree spread. Some areas, southern counties, lower 60s. Northern counties kind of hanging out closer to 50. And if we go outside, 7th and range line sitting at 59. Humidity is low at 31%. All right, pretty much clear skies. We do have some clouds which have increased along the state line of Kansas and Oklahoma. We are going to see clouds thicken as we go into tonight and then again tomorrow night as we have a wave that is passing to our south. We're going to stay dry, but we are going to have a lot of clouds. Here's that next storm system, big storm system, very strong storm system, but fits right where we should be in the pattern. It's the same system we had back in the second week of January as we have a recurring cycle. As we go into tomorrow, 47 to start, 58 by noon. It's cooler but nice, 62, and then it will drop back to 60 by 5 p.m. Until this storm system makes it here, we have pretty quiet conditions, even though we are going to have the clouds. By morning, partly cloudy. We get northerly winds, temperatures sitting low to mid 40s. Mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. Our northern counties, Yates Center, Fredonia, Chanute, you'll have a little bit more sunshine. Upper 50s by noon. We get into lower 60s during the afternoon, which is not a bad day. We do clear out tomorrow night a little bit, so we'll be able to see that conjunction a little bit better. And then clouds increase again on Thursday. Scattered morning thunderstorms. We'll get a break, just cloudy skies. And then here comes the main show as we get into Thursday evening. Showers, thunderstorms, severe weather down through eastern Oklahoma. I think it will stay to our south, but we are going to get some pretty good thunderstorms. Heavy amounts of rain, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. And then as we get into Thursday night, just periods of showers and thunderstorms across the region. Then it gets interesting. We do pull in some cold air by the time we head into Friday morning. Will it be enough to switch us over to snow? So there's a lot to watch as this system begins to push in over the next couple days. Of course, we're going to have a lot more on that in our second half hour. 62 tomorrow, 58 Thursday, 46 Friday, both alert days, mainly due to flash flooding, not snow, but flash flooding. 54, a few showers Saturday. Sunday looks great at 64. Like I said, we'll dig into this system a little more in the second half hour and look at rain chances next week as well.
I mean, we've been absolutely spoiled the last few days.
Oh,
so,
it's been great.
I mean, I guess if we got to deal with one day of snow.
Winter is not done yet.
Yeah, we'll be all right. All right. Thank you, Doug. Coming up, President Biden's loan forgiveness plan hangs in the balance.
The fight over student loan forgiveness goes to the nation's highest court. I'm Mark Meredith in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
The Supreme Court is hearing 2 challenges to President Biden's student debt relief plan. Many are calling the plan executive branch overreach. Others says it falls within the president's powers. If the challenge succeeds, the Education Department expects that borrowers will struggle to manage their debt. Fox's Mark Meredith is back with more.
Hey, what do you say? Debt relief is here to stay.
Outside the Supreme Court, rallies supporting President Biden's move to cancel up to $20,000 of federal student loan debt for more than 40 million people because of the pandemic. It was a bold presidential promise tied to a law Congress first passed during the 9/11 era, the HEROES Act.
I voted for that bill along with 420 other members. That means the president has the power.
Modified, in our view, connotes moderate change. We're talking about $500 billion and 43 million Americans. How does that fit under the normal understanding of modifying?
Of course, we acknowledge that this is an economically significant action. It's perfectly logical for Congress to broadly empower the executive to provide benefits, especially in a crisis situation or an emergency like we've seen with COVID-19.
On Tuesday, the court heard arguments from a coalition of 6 GOP-led states looking to block the student loan relief program. Those states say they'll lose tax revenue if the debt is wiped out.
I think the administration knows that if they get past standing, they have a world of hurt coming down this mountain.
And while the arguments are being held today, a decision is still expected to be a few months away, possibly as late as June. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Consumer confidence slipped unexpectedly in February for a second month in a row. Private research group The Conference Board says its consumer confidence index decreased to 102.9 in February from a downwardly revised 106 in January, the lowest level since November. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal expected confidence to improve to 108.5. The latest numbers in the housing market shows the pace of those price hikes are slowing down. According to the S&P Case-Shiller Price Index, home prices in December were 5.8% higher than the previous December. That is down from the previous month's gain of 7.6% from November 2021. Up next, more McDonald's customers will soon be able to order Krispy Kreme donut with their normal breakfast go-tos. More McDonald's customers will be able to snap up a Krispy Kreme donut with their Egg McMuffins. The fast food giant launched a surprising test last year to sell Krispy Kreme donuts at some locations. Now it says it's planning to expand that test into more restaurants and make them available in more ordering channels. 3 types of donuts will be available at 160 locations in Lexington and Louisville areas of Kentucky for a limited time though. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Pitt State hosts a panel discussion on diversity among faculty and staff, plus
it's been nearly 1 month since that massive train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and residents have concerns about their health after all those toxic chemicals were left behind. I'm Alexis McAdams. I'll have those details coming up next.
Now at 9, authorities. Pittsburgh State University is celebrating how diversity impacts campus life. And KOAM's Amber Jenkins joins us in studio.
Thank you, Jalen. PSU is hosting events all week during Diversity Week. I spoke to student government and faculty during the diversity panel. Pittsburgh State University's Multicultural Department of Student Government is hosting the first faculty diversity panel to let professors share their experiences on adjusting to a new culture.
Diversity is a strength anywhere. If we have diverse faculty, the students can see somebody who is successful or one who looks like them.
Professor Jay understands college students are curious about different cultures and lifestyles.
Sometimes they think I'm Indian. I look like somebody from the Indian subcontinent, but I specifically tell them, yes, I belong to that geographic area, but I am from Sri Lanka.
Pitt State is proud of the diversity within the student body. A diverse student body thrives off the inclusion of the faculty.
They look like the students, and I think that's one of the things that students look for is they
they can go to professors that look like them and feel comfortable talking to them. And
even in subjects like math, professors try to acknowledge how diversity impacted their field while teaching.
A history of math is one area. I don't teach it, but you can bring women who contributed to math, African American women, African American astronauts, computer scientists, all sorts of diversity into the classroom.
The different perspectives adds to campus life. After all, Professor Jay only expected to teach one semester at Pitt. That was 25 years ago.
I decided to stay, so I've been here for a long time now.
PSU is holding other events this week highlighting diversity throughout the entire week.
And then I understand that tonight's panel, the discussion covered more than just racial diversity as well.
Yes, they included all kinds of diversity. They talked about people with disabilities. They talked about people who might have served in the Army or the military. And so they just really want to expand the open-mindedness of, hey, being different, it can be more than just your culture, than just your race. It could be anything, and everybody's walk and everybody's experience there at PSU, they are very valued. So.
That's awesome. I know that there's a lot of diversity at PSU and then also Missouri Southern. So the fact that they focused this week in particular to have that, I think is really cool.
Very impactful.
All right. Thank you, Amber. Freeman Health System is giving patients a new way to check in on their appointments. The new online system will automate appointments through a patient phone or computer by reminding them upcoming appointments and allowing them to confirm or cancel with ease. Officials say this new system will save patients a lot of time.
And the great thing is it remembers things. So if you go to this doctor and you fill everything out, the next doctor you go to, it's all already there. And all you have to do is confirm that the information is correct and stays the same. Make any minor changes and we're good to go.
The new system will be available at Freeman doctors' offices and clinics. Oklahoma voters next week will decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana in the state. Currently, it's only legal medicinally. To give residents a chance to learn more about the proposal, the city of Miami in Oklahoma today hosted a town hall. It featured a six-person panel with people on both sides of the issue, including local physicians and law enforcement members.
I mean, part of us think we really need it. Part of us don't like the way the recreational is worded or some of the laws are written, but I personally think it's going to be a benefit, and I think it could be a big help, especially for Miami.
The election will be in 1 week on March the 7th. Looking for a unique home to set up some roots? How about a jail? This former jailhouse just hit the market. It's located in Harrisonville, Missouri, about 37 miles south of Kansas City. It can be all yours for about $195,000. The property sits on half an acre lot and boasts 34 cells complete with toilets and sinks, a fenced-in lot, and plenty of office space. The 1960s property has reportedly passed inspection and is said to be built to last, making it a great place to settle in for a life sentence or living. Check out the Next Home Vibe Real Estate to make your plea for this unique property. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly today announced that a local maintenance and rehabilitation project is receiving funds as part of KDOT's Short Line Rail Improvement Fund program. One of the 6 organizations receiving grant funds is Scholar Grain of Pittsburgh. Officials say Scholar will receive more than $500,000 for siding extensions. Cleanup at the toxic site in East Palestine is resuming, and the EPA continues to say test levels are within safe parameters. Most residents, however, aren't buying it. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams has more from East Palestine, Ohio.
After a brief pause, the cleanup has resumed at this toxic spill site in East Palestine, Ohio. And on Tuesday, the head of the EPA took another look at the cleanup. This is now the 3rd time EPA Administrator Michael Regan has been on the ground in Ohio. Last time he was in town, he drank the tap water to try and show residents it was safe. Now at the site of the crash itself, which is still covered in dangerous debris.
I can promise that as this community continues to look forward, we're going to be here every step of the way for as long as it takes. We aren't going anywhere.
It's been almost a month since the Norfolk Southern freight train derailed, contaminating the area with toxic chemicals. The EPA claims both the air and water are safe, but some locals are still complaining about chemical smells and ongoing health issues.
I do question, the people getting rashes and stuff like that, what is causing it. They are saying everything's safe, and we're taking them at their word, but we need to get to the bottom of what's happening.
Federal officials are now sending the contaminated soil to EPA-approved dump sites in and around Ohio. The EPA is going door to door to test the air quality in town. Right now, the agency insists that the air quality here is normal.
This is new. This is not normal. This is not something that was there before. So we're concerned that that is what is making its way into our wells.
Congress is now planning hearings on this spill, and the CEO of Norfolk Southern will be asked to testify. Reporting in East Palestine, Ohio, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
A bit later, the Alec Murdaugh trial nearing its end.
Prosecutors begin their rebuttal case in the double murder trial of Alec Murdaugh. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
Well, of course, it was a great day for us today. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures fantastic. Still Wednesday overall looks okay. It is going to be cooler, and we are going to have more clouds across the region. We'll drop back into the mid-40s tonight, but we'll start the day into the mid-40s, back to about 54 by 10 a.m. We do have some mid and upper level clouds kind of streaming in. You can see these right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. Not a huge deal, but we are going to get mostly cloudy skies as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. Weak little wave is going to pass to our south. But here's our next storm system, much stronger storm system, pulling out central California. This will make it in on Thursday and really change our weather up by the time we head into Thursday and Friday. All right, day planner 47 in the morning, 58 at noon, high of 62, which is still above normal. Drop back to 60 during the afternoon. You can see a lot of clouds across the region. We've had southerly winds. These are going to switch around to the north later on tonight. So near 40 northern counties, upper 40s, southern counties. Mostly cloudy skies for us tomorrow. A little bit more sunshine once you get up toward Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Fredonia, and Neodesha. And you can see everybody from about 60 to about 65 degrees for an afternoon high. We clear out a bit tomorrow night. As we go into Thursday, clouds thicken again, scattered showers and thunderstorms during the morning hours. These are going to lift through. We'll get a bit of a break, and then here comes our bigger batch of thunderstorms. Some of these guys could be strong, maybe severe to our south. I think for us, mainly just strong, but some very heavy amounts of rain. Here's 9 p.m. on Thursday. Periods of showers and thunderstorms into the overnight hours as colder air starts to filter in behind this system. Rain continues. Here's Friday morning, 4 a.m. And then as we get into Friday morning, colder air filters into this system. Still a lot of question marks on how much of this will change over to snow. If it does change over, it's going to be very heavy, wet snow, but this is still 2.5 days away, so we need to really watch it and see how it all comes together. We do know we're going to get some heavy amounts of rain, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. A lot of areas could pick up 1, 2, upwards of 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain, which could cause some flash flooding. Thankfully, this system in general will be out of here by the time we get into Friday afternoon as it pushes off toward the east, and then we set up to see a nicer weekend on tap for us as we go into Saturday and Sunday. All right, 62 tomorrow, 58 on Thursday, 46 on Friday. We are going to make these alert days mainly due to heavy amounts of rain Thursday into Friday morning. A few showers Saturday. Sunday looks great, and then more rain chances, on and off showers again as we go through most of next week.
Again, you got to give and take.
It is.
We had some nice weather. Now we're got to hunker down for some precip coming up, but we'll get through it.
Oh, we will.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Coming up in sports, the Girard Trojans hit the floor for the first round of Sub-State against Riverton. Plus, Freshman of the Year honors for a Pitt State women's basketball player. Jacob Leonard has that and more after the break.
Well, this week is the opening week of playoff basketball in Southeast Kansas. In the boys' 3A sub-state bracket in Girard, we got a good one in the first round tonight featuring a pair of CNC rivals. The Girard Trojans welcome in the Riverton Rams. Now, Girard is the 4 seed. Riverton is the 5 seed in the bracket. Girard came ready to play. Aiden Troike, strong drive and finish in the first. He scores 13 tonight. Then Tommy McDowell, little jab step, pull up 3, knocks it down. And final seconds of the first, Colton Dressler gets the putback right before the buzzer. Trojans up 18-6 after 1. Now in the second, Luke Nigaman finds McDowell. Tommy had 13 in the first half, 16 in the game. Girard gets the lead to 31-12 at the break. Second half though, Riverton gets something going. Colton Thomas buries the deep ball. Riverton within 12 going to the fourth. Early fourth, Jamie Richardson 3 goes down. Rams battle back to get the deficit to single digits. But the Trojans would finish it off. Aiden Damon, little floater. He was big with 10 in the second half, 12 for the game. Alex Kester all alone here for the lay-in. Girard rolls 65-45. They'll play undefeated Galena in the sub-state semifinals on Friday night. The MIAA has released its all-conference basketball awards for this season. On the women's side, Pittsburgh State's Harper Schreiner has been named the league's Freshman of the Year. Now, Schreiner made a big-time impact in her first year in a Gorilla uniform. She's averaging 10.5 points per game to go along with 6.5 rebounds per night. She's also second in the MIAA in assists with 4.2 per game. Now, the Eudora, Kansas product helped the Gorillas go 17-5 in the MIAA in the regular season. They've earned the number 4 seed in this weekend's MIAA Conference Tournament.
It's an awesome honor. I mean, there's a lot of good young talent in this league, so I'm very thankful for that. I didn't really know what I'd do my first year. I came in with a lot of unknowns, but I'm glad that I was able to step in and, have a role on the team.
Our kids did a great job in the summer getting her acclimated to everything, and she fit right in. And so she just does so many things that impact the game that are not revolving around her scoring the basketball. And I think that that's where, to have that recognized by the other coaches in the league, I think says a lot about Harper.
Schreiner is one of 4 Pitt State women earning all MIAA recognition today. They're all Kansas kids, actually. Tristan Gaig, former Labette County Grizzly, is a second-team all-conference pick. Corinna Gerber, out of Halstead, Kansas, is a third-team all-MIAA selection. And McPherson's Grace Pyle is honorable mention all-MIAA. Missouri Southern's Lacey Stokes, no surprise here. She's a first-team all-MIAA pick for the second straight season. Stokes is averaging 16.2 points per game this season. That's 5th in the MIAA. She also leads the league in assists with a little more than 5 per game and is 3rd in steals with 2.6 per night. Now, in addition to being a first-team all-MIAA pick, Stokes is also on the MIAA all-defensive team. And joining her on the all-defensive team is her teammate, Maddie Stokes. Maddie's an honorable mention all-conference pick. Also from Missouri Southern, Chrislyn Jones and Lane Skiles are honorable mention all-MIAA selections. On the men's side, 5 local guys are on the all-MIAA list. For Pittsburgh State, the Pittsburgh kid Marquis English made the cut after nearly averaging a double-double, 14 points, 9.5 boards per night. For Missouri Southern, Lions have 4 guys earn honorable mention honors: Christian Bundy, Avery Taggart, Winston Desiso, and Vincent Signum Jr. And a lot of the people we talked about, especially on the women's side, freshmen, sophomores, those 2 teams going to be good for a long time. We got some good local players here.
Yeah, absolutely. And having Lacey Stokes from Missouri Southern, back-to-back first-team all-MIAA selections, sky's the limit for her.
We'll get to watch her for a few years to come.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're back with more after this. This is your news update. I'm Jalen Banks. The Missouri Humane Society rescued 41 dogs from a Newton County home. KOAM Shagun Bomdali has more.
Shelby Azuma loves animals, so when she saw dogs in need, she had to take them in.
So the sheriff came, heard that there was something going on, and he wanted to see if he could assist me.
However, the dogs had babies, and it became too much.
I had a stroke, and it affected my heart. And before I moved here from Joplin, I had gotten real bad sick, and my legs had 10-degree burns.
She reached out to the Newton County Sheriff's Department looking for help. They called in the Missouri Humane Society to rescue the 41 dogs.
She basically was overwhelmed. She was not breeding these dogs to sell. They had just gotten out of hand. She was overwhelmed, told us she couldn't take care of the animals anymore and asked for our assistance.
Jennings says the dogs were not maltreated or abused.
Like I said, it was strictly a matter of she had some dogs, they bred, before she knew it, they bred, and all of a sudden she had 40-some animals. It's hard to find a home for an individual, for an individual to find a home for animals like that.
A local vet praises Azuma for asking for help. She says it is dangerous to foster a lot of dogs without proper care.
Dog has coccidia or giardia. It could get passed to the human. So like if you're in the feces or anything like that, if you're not washing your hands and touching that dog and that dog has it, then you can get it.
Azuma is happy that the dogs will go to loving homes.
Well, I'm grateful they came out to take care of my dog.
Reporting in Newton County, Shagun Bamdele, KOM News.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Time now for the weather forecast. Prosecutors in a double murder trial of Alec Murdaugh begin their rebuttal after the defense rests its case. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seri has the story.
My understanding of what he told me was that he checked them before he called 911.
Prosecutors call Alec Murdaugh's former law partner and close friend Ronnie Crosby to the stand as they begin their rebuttal to the defense in the double murder trial of the disgraced attorney. Crosby challenging Murdaugh's testimony from last week, where he claimed to have checked his wife Maggie and son Paul's pulses while on the phone with 911. The defense later tried to discredit Crosby's testimony during a fiery exchange over whether or not he was angry with Murdaugh for stealing money from their law firm.
You are dead wrong if you think I've come in here and told this jury something because of money. When we're talking about two people who were brutally murdered, then you're headed in the wrong direction.
Do you think he did it?
I don't have an opinion. I don't have the benefit of the materials you have.
Prosecutors also called Dr. Ellen Reamer back to the stand. She's the pathologist who performed the autopsies on the victims. On Monday, a different pathologist, one hired by the defense, testified, saying the bullet that killed Paul entered the back of his head and would have left significant residue on the shooter. Dr. Reamer, who previously testified the shot went into Paul's neck, reaffirmed her original testimony.
This is a shotgun wound to the left shoulder that's going up to the right side of the head.
Later this week, jurors are expected to be taken to the scene of the murders before closing arguments begin. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Coming up, as we wrap up Black History Month, we'll learn about the new legislation to make that history more accessible. Black History Month may be coming to a close, but the push to preserve, protect, and promote the contributions of African Americans to the country is far from over. Chris Wynn is in Washington to explain one piece of federal legislation that aims to make Black history more accessible across the U.S.
For many Americans, a trip to the nation's capital isn't complete without a visit here.
I would say a tribute to my ancestors.
According to the Smithsonian, the National Museum of African American History and Culture is a place where everyone can learn about the richness of the African American experience, what it means to their lives, and how it helped shape this nation.
It's giving them their honor and their just due for the sacrifices they made for me to be able to do the things that I can do today.
Federal legislation recently introduced during Black History Month aims to make the museum's offerings more accessible, especially at a time when some people believe the teaching of America's past is under attack.
American history is more than just surface, rah-rah, we're amazing. It's about the struggles. It's about the things that we have overcome.
The African American History Act would invest $10 million over 5 years into the museum to help expand and support educational programs, including new digital content that would be made available to students, parents, and teachers on a voluntary basis.
We know from research that these kinds of discussions help children with critical thinking, and so we're really denying children an important aspect of their education when we don't allow them to hear some of these more difficult topics in an age-appropriate way and to be able to work through those in a safe, inclusive environment.
With Congress narrowly divided, some say the bill's passage is anything but certain, but supporters say they'll continue to keep the faith.
Shine a nice light on what's happened in the past and, offer hope and optimism for the future.
The push to tell America's full story, always a work in progress. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn.
Well, that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a look at the view of the Northern Lights one pilot captured. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.